I don't think there's any such thing as good or bad. I think good or bad is something that our brain tries to kind of put on situations or even just anything. Our brain tries to categorize things into good or bad. And I think instead of categorizing things as good or bad, especially when things happen to you, instead of saying, oh, today I had a bad day, or oh, this was absolutely terrible, I hope this never happens again. I think instead of labeling things with good or bad, we should instead just be present and experience. I think we try so hard to not experience. We don't want to experience when it's bad, in quotation marks. And I think running away from the bad will just kind of keep you in more bad situations because you're not experiencing, you're not learning and taking knowledge from these experiences that you've had, because all you can focus on is saying, oh, this is bad, and then you just ignore it, you forget it, you distract yourself. I think if you actually face the emotions and really feel these emotions, you'll actually get what you've been searching for this whole time, you know? If you just feel like you can't, like your life just kind of like just kind of sucks, if you feel like you're sad all the time, if you feel like you can't be happy, I think that's because you're suppressing your bad emotions. We have the choice, we control our perception on how we look at things. You know, there's this quote, I don't know it word for word, but it basically is saying that you can experience joy. Joy will never come into your life if you haven't welcomed all the other emotions. So what that means is if you've suppressed your anger, if you've suppressed your frustration, you're doing that because you want to be happy, you want to feel joyful, right? You don't want to feel these bad emotions. That's kind of a kind of like defense mechanism I feel like that we naturally have, is that we run away from these bad emotions. And doing that keeps you away from feeling joy. Because these emotions that you ignore, that your body and your brain and your nervous system kind of hold on to them unconsciously. You're not, even if you're in a good mood, let's say, if the past year you've been suppressing bad emotions, then you really will never be at peace. You'll never be in that blissful, joyful mindset that you are striving for. Is because these emotions, your body kind of like puts them in its storage. You know, like imagine these emotions that you suppress, imagine it's like trash, right? And you don't want to throw out the trash, it smells bad, you just don't want to throw out the trash, it's not something fun. So you put it in the back of your garage, you put it somewhere, and you keep just putting off throwing out the trash. And you do this for a long enough time, eventually your whole house smells. And that's kind of, in this case, your house is kind of your body, your brain, your nervous system, and your suppressed emotions are this trash. Eventually, the trash, it starts to reek, and it starts to make your house a worse environment to live in. I think this is kind of the best analogy that I can put so you guys can understand that you need to feel your emotions. If you're sad, that's not bad. Being sad is not bad. That's an emotion. These emotions were put inside of our brain. We are born to experience and feel these emotions for a reason. Because they teach us things. They point us in directions. You know? I'm still learning about this, but a lot of our emotions often point to things that we've suppressed. I'm going to make a video on that soon, on what your certain emotions are trying to tell you. But for now, just sit with them. If you're having a bad day, first and foremost, be grateful. Because you're still alive, you're still breathing. You can still see, you can still experience life, but instead of running away or distracting yourself, just sit with your emotions. And in the moment, it's uncomfortable because you're not used to this. You're not used to embracing these emotions. You're not used to experiencing emotions in this way. But trust me, once you do this, your body will literally thank you. This is like the throwing out the trash process. So your house doesn't stink, so you don't attract bugs and rats. You know? So understand that nothing is good or bad. That is just your brain trying to understand and kind of logically put these experiences, emotions into a good or bad box. But we have to we kind of just have to feel, we have to experience. Experience and logic really don't go hand in hand. So in this case, we need to just experience these emotions, you know? And then once you do that, the joy you've been looking for will eventually find you. You know, your house will be clean. There will be no trash. You know? So, kind of a quick video, but that's what I say. Experience your emotions. Understand that what you go through is not good or bad. It is just an experience, and we have the choice to perceive things, and we have the choice to learn from our experiences, which is what life is all about. Learning and evolving. So yes, thank you for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that. Thank you.